This is Wola in the west of Warsaw. At this location, before the Second World War, there was a park. It was a recreational area for children, a playground, I believe. After the war, this building in front of me, I believe, also had certain cult status. Perhaps it was some ice cream or something along those lines. 1st of August 1944, the Warsaw Uprising broke out, and at the Situation Conference on the night of the 1st, the 2nd of August 1944, Hitler ordered everything and everybody to be destroyed. The Nazis were more than happy to do that. The rebels the insurgents had occupied areas much to the west of here, and it was from the west that the attack in was now to come. Himmler ordered Heinz Reinefarth. He wasn't a soldier, but he'd had some experience in the war, but he had no staff training. He ordered him to come in here and to scrape together as many units as he could, and then drive to the centre of Warsaw and to the Vistula River. Of course, the Soviet army was only a matter then of some 20-30 kilometers from the centre of Warsaw. The attack from the west, using the renegade, largely Soviet, former Soviet personnel under likes of Kamiński and Dirlewanger, was dreadfully brutal. They killed everything, destroyed everything they could. However, it was very hot. I mean, it's very hot today. It's 31 degrees today, and it's not even August yet. And then it was very hot. Lots of bodies lying out in the open. They realized they had to destroy them. Around the 8th of August 1944, they arranged what I would term an incineration squad, Verbrennungskommando. And this Verbrennungskommando was made up of 2 units, both of 50 people, approximately, Polish men who were offered the chance either to be in this unit or to be killed. And so that was what happened. They were guarded. Each unit was guarded, maybe 15-20 SS, Gestapo, police, approximately, because it's very difficult to tell, because there's very little in the way of documentary evidence, relying on people's memories, and not many people survived the Verbrennungskommando. They had a number of fires where bodies were burnt. It wasn't so difficult for them to find materials to burn the bodies. There was plenty of wood and other flammable materials lying around, so they burnt the bodies, and then what was left of the bodies, the ashes and the remains, was brought here. In many cases, the amount of destroyed bodies brought here may be as many as 30,000. It's very difficult to say, though. You just cannot tell. Nobody was keeping records, and nobody was keeping records of the amount of people who were actually killed. Many of the people in these commandos were later shot, and there was all sorts of offences for which they could be shot. For example, they were ordered to report any Poles that they found, any civilians that they found. If they didn't report the civilians, they could be killed. Of course, the civilians were in hiding. They were the ones that went into the buildings which had been abandoned, well, not so much abandoned, the people had been forced out, and or they had tried to escape from the Nazis. People were taken to a church which was put up as a transit camp. Now, initially they killed everybody. However, Erich von den Bach Zalewski ordered that when he arrived here, he'd been on holiday in Sopot, and he arrived here and he ordered that initially that women and children not be killed, and later he ordered that men not be killed too. He was thinking, of course, and what he said was that these men could be used for slave labour in the Reich, and there was probably not much point in destroying everybody when people could be used. It's not so long earlier, on the 29th of July, or 28th of July, I think it was 28th of July 1944, the Nazi authorities here, Ludwig Fischer, had ordered the population, 100,000 people, to actually appear, report for work, and dig trenches and other fortifications to stop the Soviet army. So that they would have been thinking of that as well. Having said that, the population that survived was taken to places such as that church and lots of other places as well. There they went through a sort of screening. Anybody suspected of being an insurgent or Jewish was killed immediately, and they didn't really need much reason to suspect. And other people were then sent to the transit camp at Pruszków. The amount of people who went through the camp at Pruszków is enormous. It's in hundreds of thousands. They weren't just from Warsaw, there were some areas around here. Now, today there's not a lot here to remind us that what happened here. There is a cross at the other side of the park, but that is it. And it's a cross without a description. As one comes in from the west through ulica Wolska and ulica Gorczewska, there are constant reminders of what happened here. The march of the units under Reinefarth, Dirlewanger, Kamiński, and what they did to the local populations. I've done videos on these characters. There will be links below if they've been published, but they mightn't have been published by the time you're actually watching this. This is a sort of video I do off the top of my head, and when I do videos off the top of my head I tend to do them a lot quicker, and with the videos I do when I sort of documentary style, I sit down and I check everything that I've done. As you can see around, all the buildings though are post-war. There is nothing here from before World War II. Everything was destroyed. I've done a number of videos on this. This is the next month will be the 80th anniversary of the Warsaw Uprising, so I'm hoping to get as much up for that as I can. This is when I'm doing this. It's July 2024. So that is the new Warsaw, the skyscrapers, new buildings, and there's in front is an old building. I don't know what it was, but it looks as though it has history. I say old, it'll have been rebuilt. It's and there, that is looking towards the west. And coming up here, we have the cross. And I'll read this to you. On the 5th of August 1944, on the grounds of the nearby garden recreational area, Wenecja, the Germans shot around 100 people, mainly people who lived in Wolska 28, and on the 5th and the 10th of August at Wolska 26, they murdered around 150 people. In the next days, the Sonderkommando, the incineration squad, burnt at this place hundreds of bodies of murdered men, women and children. In 1947, the remains of the victims were buried at the Uprising cemetery in Warsaw.